Well, I'm pleased to have in the studio with me today Erin Cox. She is a mother of 3. That's probably your main achievement. You were an executive until you start having a family, right?
Right, and I tried to continue working once I had my first child, and I realized that my life just didn't feel the kind of balance that I wanted it to. So I kind of have slowly cut back and cut back. I started full-time until my daughter was about 1.5 years, then I cut down to part-time, and now I work by the hour still as an engineer.
Okay, and you do have a book coming out, and it's coming out in November.
Yes.
You can order it now at Barnes & Noble.
You can pre-order on Barnes & Noble and Amazon. Yes.
Okay, One Hot Mama.
One Hot Mama. Okay. Yes, and the subtitle is The Guide to Getting Your Mind and Body Back After Baby.
Okay, well, let's start with that.
Sure.
Having babies. I don't have any, so you're going to have to help me here. But many women I know, when they have babies, they go through what they call post-pregnancy depression.
Yes.
Is it something that you experienced when you had your children?
You know, I didn't have a full-blown postpartum depression, but I had moments of it. I think all women have at least a few moments where they feel helpless, overwhelmed, depressed. Well, first of all, you're just exhausted. You know, you come into this experience usually staying up for a full night just during the birthing process, and you're tired. And then, you know, the baby wakes up many times throughout the night. So I think being just incredibly tired leads to feeling overwhelmed and that sense of depression. And, you know, it's kind of an overwhelming responsibility. And, you know, I think historically a lot of women lived near family. So they had sort of a support system. They had a mother down the street or a grandmother or sisters. And now many of us are, you know, live far away from family, and it can be a lonely experience, especially if you are suffering from a little bit of depression. It can be really difficult.
Well, you know, I'm an Orthodox Christian, so in our tradition, what women do after they have babies, traditionally they stay home for 40 days, which is definitely biblically rooted, but at the same time it's really practical because you get this 40 days to rest emotionally, to rest physically.
Right, and be taken care of, I hope, a little bit.
Yeah, so you see this is something that women can do, at least that, to recuperate, I mean, after having a baby?
Well, and that's the great thing when you have your first child. You can recuperate a little bit better, just resting, sleeping when the baby sleeps, you know, staying home and doing. I did my first child. I felt like I hardly left the house. Right. But then your second one and your third one, or your fourth, however, you know, your children generally have activities. I remember my second child, I was taking my first one to her swimming lessons when my infant was a week old. You know, it was in Florida, it was really hot. I'm out there, you know, nursing a baby, and it was really hot and sweaty, and I was like, oh my goodness. So a 40-day period to recover would be heavenly.
Awesome. I know, because now you have a baby, the first thing you think about, you're going to post the baby's picture on Facebook.
Right.
You have to respond to all the emails, then you have people coming over all the time. This is just crazy. How can you even, I mean, you would go into depression if you never suffered from one.
You know, that's actually a really good point. It is hard to try. You have to feel, a lot of women feel like they have to look good and they have to be a good host when they have, you know, they're still recovering from childbirth and they have people coming over. People mean well, you know, they're bringing usually meals and things like that. But what really helped me is my mom came to visit, and she sort of played gatekeeper. You know, if I was nursing the baby or if I was resting, she really kind of protected me that way. I felt like that was just invaluable, just to have that person there, because, and also, it is nice to get up and get dressed and kind of put a little makeup on and feel good about yourself, but, you know, new moms should never feel like they've got to, you know, entertain or anything like that. I don't think people expect that either. Yeah,
but at the same time, you're saying it is good to put makeup on, to get yourself dressed, you know, to try to be the best you can in that circumstance. So
absolutely.
Once you have your baby, you're home, all the guests have come and gone, how can you start living your life again? How can you go back to normalcy and actually enjoy what you have?
Right. Oh gosh, you know, that is so important. You know, getting in a routine, kind of establishing a routine for yourself where you do get up every morning and you take a shower. That sounds crazy, but it's so easy to just want to stay in your comfy clothes, your yoga pants all day long, and you know, you start feeling frumpy. You really do start feeling frumpy. So I just recommend for all new moms to get up, take a shower, even just, you know, wash your face, put a little lip gloss and just something on so you feel refreshed. Because I remember some mornings looking in the mirror after having a really sleepless night and thinking, oh my gosh, who is this haggard looking woman? You know, I finally had bags under my eyes, and you know, all I would do is put on a little powder, a little mascara, lipstick, and it was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And it sounds crazy and it might seem materialistic, but putting some nice clothes on, putting makeup on, it makes you feel good about yourself. Makes you feel like yourself still.
Yeah.
You know, you're not just a mother. You're still that same wonderful person, but you know.
And you mentioned the word organization. I mean, obviously it's important when you're not pregnant, when you had your child. What surprises me is once you had your child, so many women abandon church. And I know I'll show you the connection here. But to me, the church, obviously, it has so many benefits and so many sacraments that you partake there. But the way it's structured and the way, at least if you can go every Sunday, that organization and being in the body of Christ, this is, I mean, you can really be that's the only place where you can be a fully woman and a person. And yet so many mothers, they think that this is just an obstacle, this is just an addition to their already busy schedule. So if you, as a mother of 3, could say something right now to encourage women to actually get up on Sunday morning and go to church at least once a week.
Well, it's amazing because sometimes when you've got a busy week, it just sounds so nice on that morning to just not have to get up and get dressed and get the baby put together. And you know, having to be on a time schedule can be difficult, especially if you're working a little bit. You know, that it's hard to get yourself together on the weekend. But I think more than anything, you need to get there and get that spiritual centering and get that, you know, for me, it's almost like you're shot in the arm every week where you go, you get spiritually refreshed, your whole family does. And I actually think as a mom, you feel like you're a part of a support system. I'm a part of a military family. My husband's an Air Force pilot, so we don't ever have family around, but we have a church family. So that's like the one day of the week when I feel like I don't ask these people for support very often, but it just being there, I know if I needed something, that there's dozens of people that would be there to help. And there's something really reassuring about that. And you know, and then listening to a really good sermon and just sort of getting, you know, rejuvenated. And sometimes that's what moms need during the week. You know, you're home all day. If you're staying home with your children, you need to get out, get dressed, and sometimes a Sunday morning church service is just the perfect thing to do that.
Yeah, it's like, how can you be a blessing to your children if you yourself just not being filled constantly?
Exactly.
So,
yeah, it's kind of just keeping yourself, putting yourself first in a really healthy way so you can be your best for your children.
So speaking of healthy, let's get to the tips, because I know you just you had an article in a Huffington Post. You have your own blog, you have a website. What are some of the healthy tips that you can give to mothers as far as food goes, exercise?
You know, it's all connected. You have to take care of yourself so you have the energy to be a good mom. That is just key. And I think it starts with, you know, after you have this baby, you look down and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got all this pudge, I'm soft, I'm not myself. And when new moms, simply, you can't be on a diet. So what you need to do is just eat so healthy. Eat lots of fresh food, lots of fruits and vegetables. I mean, this is all basic stuff. I highly recommend organic food for the environmental reasons, but also just the lack of chemicals in your body. I really recommend organic. And just really avoiding processed food. I think processed food, you know, our bodies weren't meant to deal with that. And I think that there's so much extra sugar and salt in different processed foods that, you know, it's definitely going to hinder your weight loss process. But getting exercise is so good for you emotionally. Getting, you know, moving your body. I just think when you get out and you go for a walk, let's say you're having a rough morning, the baby's been screaming, you're just feeling stressed, you're overwhelmed, you put the baby in the stroller, you get out, go for a jog, you know, your body releases the endorphins and the serotonin, and you'll just feel refreshed. And there's nothing more important than, you know, making sure that you have that energy and you've got, you know, you're just really feeling healthy. Exercise is just a key part of it.
And like you said, you can grab a stroller and go for a jog, or you can go for a walk. You know, you don't, like, from what I understand, you don't have to join the gym and abandon your family 3 times or 4 times a week, right?
You know, you don't have to do that at all. And you know, a lot of women, when they have, especially when you have your first baby, the thought of taking your baby to a child care center in a gym where it might seem like there's germs, you hate to do that. By the 2nd and 3rd kid, I had no problems taking my kids to the gym. It was funny how that happened. Like, oh, they're fine. But you know, there's so many options. Another thing I love to do, and it's totally inexpensive, is I have a 5-year-old who's an avid reader, so we go to the library once a week, and I grab a workout video. Just a different workout video every week. Sometimes they're incredible, they're awesome, and I want to do them every day. Sometimes they're not so great, but you know, they're free. You just go check them out, and it's a fresh workout. And so if you do your cardio workouts with a jog or a walk, and then you can go do a strength workout or a yoga video. But I also recommend the gym because I think it's really nice to have that in addition.
And probably to get out of the house.
Just to get out of the house, and you know, it's socialization. You can meet up with some friends there, talk to other adults. Sometimes it's key.
especially if you're a single mother and you don't have a partner to share.
Oh,
your
I
life
can't
with,
imagine.
so.
That would be really difficult.
What about sleep? How did you manage your sleep once you had a first child, second, third? Now you have a 3-month-old.
Yes.
Do you get sleep?
I do get sleep.
Okay, how?
Well, when I was writing my book, I did a lot of research on the negative implications of sleep deprivation. And I had no idea how negative the effects were. You know, it makes your body hold on to fat. It makes you feel hungrier. You know, it has implications on your memory, your ability to be articulate, all these things. So I said, I am going to make I'm a night owl. So it's really tempting for me to stay up late, work on my writing, do other things, clean the house. But I've really started to try to get sleep. And the first key for women to do this is to get their whole family on a schedule. I'm not a scheduled type of person by nature, so it's taken a little bit of effort. But I work so hard to get my kids on a sleeping schedule.
What time do they go to sleep?
7:30 or 8.
Really? Oh.
In the summer, it's been a little bit later. You know,
Okay.
as the summer months, you know, I have to say, we've been a little more casual. But we work really
What time
hard.
do they get up, though? Are they 6 o'clock?
Oh, no, 7:30.
Oh, really?
7.
Okay. So you do get a nice few,
Yeah.
you know, 7, 8 hours?
Yep. You can have, and that way my husband, I think another reason that's really important is for husband and wives to have time to connect. You know, the nights that we let our kids stay up till 9 o'clock, let's say, you know, we've barely got enough time to hang out together before it's time to go to bed ourselves. So I think you know, putting your children to bed early my children are so much more well behaved when they get enough sleep.
Yeah.
But then, you know, we have time to hang out, catch up, reconnect, and I think that helps keep our marriage strong too.
What about dates? Do you still go
Oh,
on dates?
yes.
You make time for that?
Oh, that is a huge part of my book is, you know, I think a lot of times kids are so demanding, they take so much energy, and it can really take away from the focus of your marriage. And I never understood, you know, how so many of what the high percentage of population that gets divorced until I had children, because it's really easy to grow apart. And so I think if you keep your marriage as just a central focus, and also your faith, those two things, the faith and your marriage, I think you're going to have happier children just as a result of the stable, loving home that they're going to have. So, you know, date night, we have I wish we had family around. We don't, but we have babysitters that we really trust, and so we try to get out at least every other week for a date. And sometimes my husband, he's now in the Air National Guard, so he gets he gets Mondays off every once in a while. And so sometimes we'll go on a daytime date, and that is so much fun. We'll go out for breakfast and go golfing or something, you know?
Nice.
Yeah.
So as a final question, do you pray for your children?
Oh, goodness, yes.
Isn't it powerful, Mother's Prayer?
Like, I almost get goosebumps thinking about it. You know, I've prayed my entire life. There's something different when it's your children that you love so much, and you just want the best for them. You want them to lead lives of you know, reaching their destiny and living to their fullest potential. And I never get more satisfaction from doing anything but praying for my kids, and for my marriage, and for my husband and my friends and my family. But you know, my children are the ones. You know, it just makes me feel like I don't have to worry. Because as a mother, I try really hard not to worry. I think worry is a wasted emotion. It's a waste of energy. But as a mom, it's inevitable. You love your children so much that you know, it's hard not to worry. So I think prayer kind of takes the edge off the worrying.
Yeah. And
you
then
know,
God takes care of the
you just
rest.
leave it to God.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You're an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And
this is fun.
so your book is coming out in November.
Yes,
and it's
November
called
27th.
One Hot Mama.
Yep, One Hot
And
Mama.
it will be available in all the bookstores. I'm
Yes,
assuming?
it's available for pre-order on Amazon and Barnes & Noble now. It will be available here in town at the Barnes & Noble, and yeah.
All right, we'll check it out, and we'll have you back.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Erin.